pretrial conferences, that was the state's concerns about witness testimony being recorded.
Okay, well, Mr. Metzger asked to record, only in the courtroom, all dates and times for the hearing, and there was no objection to that at the time, but I have made a ruling with regards specifically to, at least the one specific witness. I've not heard any motion with regards to any other witnesses. Okay, alright, are we ready to proceed? Anything else, preliminary matters to take up, Mr. Mesa?
Not from the state.
Okay, alright, proceed with hearing all evidence, and then I'll let the parties provide argument.
So the state's first witness is Officer Long.
Swan, can you come up?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in the case now before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your name for the record, spelling your last name.
Christopher Long, CHRISTOPHERLLNG.
Thank you.
May I proceed, Judge? Thank you. Good morning, Officer Long. Can you please state where you work?
I'm currently with Palmer Judicial Services.
And what is your job title there?
I'm the sergeant.
And what are your job duties as a sergeant at Judicial Services in Palmer?
Amongst things is to manage the court services officers, help with transports of prisoners and security at the courthouse, and also do some other investigations, patrol work.
How about anything regarding courtroom or courthouse security?
Yes.
Okay, could you describe what that means and what your job duties are for that?
Yeah, if there's any party that gets out of hand, we handle those, or if someone needs assistance, we help out with those. Sometimes we have to escort people out to a parking lot if they need, if they're fearful of other parties in the court, things like that.
And how long have you worked at JS for?
May/June, it was like the end of May, beginning of June of 23.
Okay. And how long have you been a law enforcement officer for?
Since August of 2005.
And was that law enforcement in Alaska or any other states?
In Alaska. I had some in the military, but primarily in Alaska.
Okay. Now, do you receive any training to become a police officer?
Yes.
Can you talk about just briefly that general training that you received to become a law enforcement officer?
Initially, we have a few months of training at SICA, Department of Public Safety Academy, and that's in the basics. And then we have basically on-job training or an FTEP program, field training, entrance program, and then depending on what specific job that you're doing, you get also training available to with certain skills.
Now, were you on duty on November 2nd, 2023?
Yes.
Do you happen to recall what happened that day that prompted your contact with the defendant, Mr. Lawler?
Yes.
Okay, could you talk about that with the court, kind of from the beginning, where you became involved?
Yeah, we had an individual that the court told us was video recording or taking photographs inside the clerk's office. I went out, I saw a person that was wearing a turquoise shirt and contacted him. At the time, I didn't know who it was. I identified him later. As I was contacting him, Mr. Lawler had approached, and I was aware of, they were obviously First Amendment auditors, and that's when I was questioned, and I just told the other guy, I think his name was Anselmo, told him that he couldn't record inside the courthouse. And then Mr. Lawler had entered the courthouse. He was videotaping. He wanted some court paperwork that basically had PJ orders and some other court documents, which I provided to him and his partner Anselmo. And then they were told that if they stopped recording, that they would be trespassed. If they didn't leave, then they'd be arrested for trespass.
Okay, I want to break down a couple of those pieces of your testimony. So when you were first initially told that the defendant was recording, who told you this?
It got someone from the clerk's office had notified our control JS Control, who basically or one of our clerks, I don't know who it was, and someone said, hey, we got a report that someone's recorded in the clerk's office.
And, where was he exactly recording? Back in November of 2023?
As far as I understood, it was, I believe it was inside the, it's called the clerk's office, and it's basically the public window. There's like, I think 4 windows that are there, and it's enclosed in like glass, so you can, or windows, so you can see into it.
Now, when you issued him the trespass, where were you guys located at that point? And I'm talking about the trespass in November.
That was right at the screening area.
Okay, so if we could walk to that part. So start with November, and then we'll kind of get to the February one. So where was he located in the November when you first gave him the initial trespass? Where was he located that time?
Are you referring to Anselmo or Mr. Lawler?
Mr. Lawler, thank you.
When I gave him, that was at the screening area.
Okay.
He was already through the screening area, so it was right there on the public side, not the entrance side.
Okay, and you were prompted to come out after being told that he was recording by whom?
Yeah, I was told that Anselmo was recording.
Gotcha, okay. And then, once you went out to kind of the security, what did you all observe with Mr. Lawler?
I knew he had gone down the hallway, that goes past, I guess it's 6, 7, 8 courtrooms. And I don't know how far he went down. That also goes into the grand jury area and up to the PSOB, the Palmer State Office building. I know he was waiting for some paperwork, which one of my, I think it was a CSO or maybe Trooper Shelley, had went to grab the paperwork that I had provided in Salmo.
Okay, and still talking about the November 2nd, 2023 incident, did you see if he was recording at all?
I couldn't see, well, I saw the camera that he had, and I think he had mentioned that he was recording. And the way he was maneuvering his camera, I would presume that he was.
Did you advise him that he could not record inside the courthouse?
Yes.
And why did you tell him this?
Because the court staff said, and they said that he cannot record inside. He can be there for official business, but he can't record inside, or anyone can't record without prior permission from the court.
And is there a presiding order that sets rules and guidelines regarding recording in the Palmer Courthouse?
Yeah, there's different ones that I learned about when I first got there to the courthouse.
Okay. May I approach the witness, Judge? Go ahead. Could you inform the court what that document is?
This here is the paperwork that I provided in Selma and Mr. Lawler in November.
And is that marked State Exhibit number 2?
Yes.
Is that also the presiding order that governs whether individuals can record in the Palmer Courthouse?
Yes.
I move to admit State Exhibit number 2 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
And who issued those guidelines?
I think in this paperwork here, I think it's some of the Supreme Court and then the presiding judge, which I think it was Judge Matthews, I believe at the time.
Now, are you to enforce those guidelines through your job capacity in judicial services?
Yes.
Now, back in November 2nd of 2023, was the defendant in violation of that presiding order regarding recording in a public courthouse?
Yes.
Now, was the court of clerk Barbara Cloud ever aware of this conduct that day?
Yes.
Okay, and how was she aware of it?
She was aware back in November of what was going on, and she had said that they can be here for official business, but even if they are, they can't record inside the courthouse without prior authorization or approval from the court.
Okay. Are you aware of whether the defendant that day on November 2nd, 2023, when you issued the first trespass, did he have any permission to record in the courthouse?
No, not that I was aware of.
Okay. And did you and Ms. Cloud, which is the clerk of court, correct, in Palmer?
Yes.
Did you ever have a communication or a conversation on November 2nd, 2023, when the defendant was still in the courthouse?
Yes.
Okay, and did she advise you that she wanted the defendant trespassed?
Yes.
Did you act upon her advisement?
Yes.
And what did you do?
And this is, you're speaking about November?
Correct, yep.
That's when I gave him the warning and said, if you don't record, you'll be trespassed if you don't leave, you'll be arrested for trespass.
And again, this was pursuant to Ms. Cloud, the clerk of court, her directives as well.
Your Honor, I'm not objecting insofar as the truth of the matter asserted as to what Ms. Cloud may or may not have said, but I'm understanding that perhaps Sergeant Long was, this is about why he did what he did, not that this is what Ms. Cloud said.
Response?
I don't understand the objection. What's the objection?
The objection's to hearsay, but.
Oh, to hearsay, okay. So State versus Crowder directly is on point to this. It's officer's communication is not for the truth of the matter asserted, but their course of investigation. So in establishing probable cause, you have to establish the steps that they took, why they took certain steps. So this is why I'm establishing it for a probable cause
I'm
analysis.
gonna overrule the objection.
Thank you.
May I continue, Judge?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you answer the question, Sergeant Long? I don't, you can answer it, the court overruled it, so if you remember the question, or if you need me to
Yeah,
repeat it.
what was the question? I'm sorry,
I think it was regarding, whether Ms. Cloud, told you to trespass the defendant if he continued to.
yeah, I mean, maybe not, I don't know if she said like trespass, because obviously we don't have a rule or a statute that says if someone is recording, on the court premises without permission, that we can make an arrest. But, and that's why I said earlier about, with us, that we do enforce the rules of the court, and that was the way with the trespass warning. So yes, I don't know if she said trespass, because she don't know what we do. We had discussed this before, when I first got there briefly, that obviously it was pretty in-depth, or more in-depth then, in November. But she did say, yeah, that she does not want them recording, they must leave if they don't stop recording. And they're not, even if they are there for official business. And she was very clear that they could come in here for official business. It's like being trespassed from like a medical facility. You can't trespass someone from a medical facility if they have a desire, need, and need care.
Sure.
So it's similar to that.
And, back in November, when the clerk of court or a judge or somebody would, request that somebody be trespassed from the court, who would act on that behalf? Would that be judicial services to act pursuant to what they are requesting you
Yes.
to do? Okay, could you walk the court through, that, why it's you instead of the clerk of court or the presiding judge?
Well, because we are the security law enforcement liaison for the courthouse. And so it would, I'm not familiar with any, typically even if you trespass someone from a residence, it's not a landlord or the owner. They may request it, but they go through law enforcement.
And just a couple more clarification questions before we move on to the February incident, but regarding the November incident, did you specifically advise him that he could not record in the
Yes.
Palmer courthouse? Okay. Did he continue to record after you told him specifically he could not record?
No.
Okay. How did your interaction end that day then?
He had left, and then Selma was on the other side of the screening, critiquing my actions, and then Mr. Lawler left.
Okay. And what did the trespass, just to be very clear, what did it specifically entail? What were the components of the trespass that you gave him?
It was two-pronged. He had to be there for official business, and he could not be recording.
Okay. So even if he was there for official court business, let's just assume he was, did he have the ability to record without prior permission first?
No.
And why is it important for you to enforce this presiding order regarding cameras being in the courthouse?
Well, I think the main thing is there's a few different areas that are basically protected, or there's confidential or sensitive information that's passed. One of them is the clerk's office. We have there's public that are filing for protective orders or stalking orders, all sorts of different things, and then so that's one area. And then we have, down at the grand jury assembly room, that's supposed to be, that's protected, or supposed to be. So, you potentially could have children as witnesses coming out of the grand jury room or grand jurors. And then you have the screening area. I'm just going off to me, but I think the important area is the screening area. There's also, security measures. I don't know if they get videotaped or are recorded like that and broadcasted. That's a security issue.
And then my last question about the November incident is State's Exhibit number 2, just to clarify, you gave a copy of that to Mr. Lawler in November when you issued the trespass advisory.